Year 2016 America qualifiers, and this is it. We are here in the final round of the America qualifiers here for Group B. We've got 2 games going on, and this actually decides everything. Often with these round robin group stages, we end up with teams being mathematically eliminated early, or the group being pretty much decided, but at this point, things are still up in the air, so let me give you the rundown as the draft begins on the screen in front of you. We've got Shazam in the lead right now, 5 points, 5-1 overall record. Dragneel nipping at their heels, they're at 4 points overall, 4-2. Freedom, shortly after that, they're at 3-3 with 3 points, and Not Today are at 2 points. Kingdom are at 2 points as well, but they've already played all of their matches, so they are in fact mathematically eliminated. If Shazam win a single game here, I think Shazam are already through pretty much no matter what. Actually, no, wait, they're not. Okay, so there's a lot of different scenarios here. If Shazam get 2-0'd and Freedom 2-0, then Shazam and Freedom would be tied. And Shazam and Freedom went 1-1 in their head-to-head, so I believe that there would be a tiebreaker in that case. If Shazam and Dragneel both go 1-1 here, then Freedom can only tie with Dragneel if they 2-0. And Dragon Slayerzzz against Freedom, their head-to-head result was also 1-1. So there's quite a few different tie scenarios here. Not Today with a 2-0 can even potentially tie themselves up for second place, assuming that Shazam 2-0. So we'll have a look at how everything plays out after the first game and after the second game, of course. But every team has some kind of a chance at the moment in this group, or every team that's playing at the moment has some kind of a chance, aside from Kingdom, who have been eliminated so far. So exciting stuff. Let's get into this game. We've got the number 1 seed, we got the number 1 in the group against the number 2 in the group. Should be pretty exciting, and this will likely be the match that determines the number 1 team moving out of this group. So in terms of ban Shazam, they've been banning the Slardar all day from what we've seen. They're going to keep getting rid of it here. The Bounty Hunter is going to make it through into the pool unbanned, but Earth Spirit is going to be the priority for Dragon Slayers, as they're still sticking to their guns in terms of their overall drafting structure. Earth Spirit, Witch Doctor, they're not going to be able to get their hands on their Invoker this game. They won't be able to get the Nature's Prophet either. It looks like Shazam have really done their homework in terms of the overall style that Dragon Slayers have been looking to play, though from what we've seen from Dragon Slayers has been a little bit of adaptation over the course of this qualifier compared to the open qualifier. Open qualifier, they did something kind of similar every single game, but then they got here into the main qualifier and they ran up against some of Team Freedom's slightly off-the-wall strategies like the Kunkka Tinker, but they showed that they could adapt, they could show that they could introduce new heroes into the roster, like this Slark, and they could do very well. I think the Slark pretty well positioned here against the Beastmaster and the Lion. We are going to see the Darkseer banned out as well by Shazam here. I do wonder if that's going to lead us into some particular direction in terms of what they're looking to run on their safe lane. Maybe we'll be seeing a roamer or something like that out of them. The Bounty Hunter will end up being banned, as the Vengeful Spirit is also removed. Both of these teams pretty familiar with one another, and I think both of them have been following all of the other matches that the other team has been playing over the course of this qualifier. So if anyone has anything up their sleeves, this is potentially the point to try and bring that out. We did see Shazam run a Drow Ranger strategy a little bit earlier in the day. TC farming up a Storm on his Drow, and Shazam winning that match against Not Today in pretty convincing fashion. So they do still have that up their sleeve eventually, but they won't be able to get quite all of the heroes that they ran in that roster. So what else is worth mentioning? MSS's Alchemist has of course been banned out too. Lots of specifically targeted bans here in terms of the overall draft structure. Dragon Slayers, I like their lineup at the moment from a really skirmish-heavy perspective. Their longest cooldown pretty much to be waiting for things like Death Ward, which is not particularly long, realistically, and that does mean that they should be able to fight quite a bit in the early game. The Earth Spirit and the Witch Doctor should also help to lock down these lanes for the Slark and make sure that he doesn't get bullied by the Beastmaster and that he does get off to a decent start. So we'll see how Shazam look to deal with him. There might be some small thought to picking up an Ancient Apparition against a Witch Doctor and a Slark, but they might want to grab their secondary support relatively soon as well, just so that they can leave more cores until later in the draft. And Ancient Apparition is sometimes, as a hero overall at the moment, feels somewhat weak. So perhaps we're not going to be seeing him here. As Shazam do just end up picking up the Mirana. A little bit surprised to see the Mirana being picked into a Slark, a hero that does actually play really nicely against Mirana in general, just because of the interaction between Pounce and Leap. But we've still seen MSS be pretty successful on this Mirana so far in this qualifier. Saw it played last game. It does seem to be somewhat set in his ways as far as build goes, but it is a hero that's reasonably survivable when it comes to these ganks on the mid lane from the Earth Spirit. And that's something that we've been seeing a lot of teams prioritize. When you've got the Earth Spirit, when you've got the Bounty Hunter in the game, looking for heroes like the Puck, like the Mirana, that have an escape on the middle lane, so that these, the Earth Spirit rolling bouldering in when he's level 1 or level 2 is a little bit less of a concern. So I think that's somewhat of the angle that Shazam are going for here. And the other thing to talk about for both teams here is comfort picks. A lot of these picks that we're seeing, they've picked the whole qualifier. They know what they're doing on these heroes. It's just going to be interesting to see how these two rosters interact against one another, because I feel like for the most part both teams are getting a lot of what they want right now. In terms of what Dragon Slayers are going to be looking for their mid and their off-lane positions, what have they been running? So it should be Clairvoyance on the Witch Doctor. It'll be KYH on the Earth Spirit. I think it's Mason on Slark. That'll be so that'll be HFN's Puck, I believe. We did see one game during the there was one game during the open qualifier where they swapped their mid lane for their safe lane. So HFN actually played the Slark, and I believe Mason played the Puck in that game. But I get the feeling that we're just going to be seeing Mason Slark and HFN Puck. And Shazam gonna go for the Elder Titan here. All right, get some sleep setups into Arrow. We saw them running this against who did they play this against? They actually played this against Kingdom. And in that game it was
5 seconds remaining.
So in that game it looks like it was played by I think it was played by SVG actually. Yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah, so it was SVG playing the Elder Titan, so they were playing the Elder Titan as support. He went for a pretty aura heavy build, got a drum, got a Vlad's, got a Shiva's. In that game, I thought that it was largely because they had kind of the Alchemist, and also that they were up against Terrorblade, so they could remove pretty much all of his armor with the natural aura. But looks like also feeling like they want to put the Elder Titan in on this game. Slark, I mean, doesn't buy a whole lot of plus armor items, so they are going to make him pretty squishy with the natural order, but Elder Titan is not a hero that we see a whole lot of, so I'm going to be keeping a close eye on him this game and seeing how this all plays out. But as we move into our final round of bans, we're still looking for a TC hero, so we are going to see the Chaos Knight being banned out. Looks like Dragon Slayer is not feeling crazy confident about their AoE right now, though they do have quite a bit of AoE. Realistically, they've got Spark Packs, they've got Puck's nukes, they've got Earth Spirit Magnetize and his nukes, but I guess just not wanting to deal with this CK. So what are Shazam gonna do here? There's a Sven in the pool who's not too terrible. Faceless Void also pretty solid. Very good to have against. If Void is like even or ahead of the Slark on farm, he just kills him every time in Chronosphere, which is definitely not good for old Slark. And the Chrono also is a really nice way to set up for the Earth Splitter. Normally a very difficult ability to land, but Chrono's got a good long duration, and It looks like this two-hero pickup, this two-hero combo was probably premeditated from Shazam here. Can be a little bit difficult to play Faceless Void against silences like the Earth Spirit and the Puck. But because it looks like it is going to be a one-position Void, there is definitely the opportunity for him to pick up things like a Manta Style and a Diffusal Blade to be able to deal with those silences this game, as Dragon Slayers do end up rounding out the lineup with the Lone Druid. So the one thing that I was going to comment on a little bit was the fact that they have this Puck, so they don't necessarily have all that much late game, and we could see Shazam, somewhat play a slower paced game, just like they did in the previous one against Not Today, where they build up multiple Midases and just kind of sit back and do their own thing. But Dragon Slayers, now they have the Slark and the Lone Druid. Late game is looking pretty good for them, though I think still a little bit better for Shazam on the whole. Though we'll just have to see how things play out as we get ourselves into this game. We've only got this game and one more for the America qualifiers, and that's it for my coverage. Though, of course, we've got playoffs and stuff that are still going to be coming up later. But let's get ourselves into this game and let's have a little bit of fun. So over on Shazam, we have Brax. This time around, he is going to be able to get his hands on his Beastmaster. Jason is going to be on Lion once again, TPing out, putting down some early observer wards. We've got MSS on the Mirana, we've got TC on the Faceless Void, and I think I've missed good old SVG over on the Elder Titan. Meanwhile, for Dragneel, Snaking is going to be on the Lone Druid, KYH on the Earth Spirit, HFN on Puck, Fantastic Damage or Mason is going to be on the Slark, and Clairvoyance be over on Witch Doctor. I think he's played a ton of Witch Doctor in this qualifier, so we will see that trend continue here today. Do we have the Orb of Venom already up and ready to go on the Earth Spirit? MSS holding on to some skill points right now. So everybody just trying to get a little bit of intel to start out this game. Spirit Bear just chilling out in the offlane right now. Might be carving a little path to try and steal a creep wave and secure Snaking a quick level 2, but looks like it is just going to be a bounty rune apiece here, as neither team looking to get too involved. Brax, I think largely because of the kill potential of the Witch Doctor and the Slark in this lane, is going to be opting to just pick up the Iron Talon right from the get-go, and I think he is going to be jungling quite a bit early on, as KOH does roll in on top lane, or on the mid lane, and does a little bit of damage to MSS before they start out. But yeah, it looks like Brax is actually just going to be completely ditching the off lane. There is already a ward here looking for him, and again, the Witch Doctor is an extremely good matchup against the Beastmaster in lane, so he's instead just going to go for the very quick Iron Talon jungle. We've been extremely successful with this Iron Talon jungling so far, both in the previous patch and in this patch as well. Been taking a ton of auto attack damage here on the mid lane, but there's still a salve apiece for both of these mid laners, and SVG actually just running the Elder Titan as a huge nuisance on mid right now. And I guess this is somewhat of Shazam's answer to the Earth Spirit. SVG is going to have to be a little bit careful. Arrow connecting on HFN, manages to pop the Fairy Fire, but he runs a little bit further forward, and that means he just ends up going down to the auto attacks. The orb did not connect on SVG, and that meant that he's going to be able to survive, and just going to be able to probably go in suicide to some neutrals if I had to guess. I don't know what he's going to shop up, though. One auto attack, not going to be enough to kill off the courier, and that's actually 2 different salves that they would have lost there, but MSS going to be able to grab his. Brax should be able to send one over to himself in just a second as well. Meanwhile, Lone Druid actually going to be able to kill off the Lion here. Alright, I don't know how that happened. Looks like Jason just got a little bit ahead of himself, trying to right-click down the LD, but it is actually going to be Snaking getting a turnaround and picking up a kill of his own, so nice little grab for him. Sends the bear off towards the rune as well, hoping for a bounty. Gonna snag that there. And an Invis rune for Clairvoyance. This was not scouted out by the Dire side, so they don't have a clear idea that this is going on. Brax, quite a bit of damage from the neutral camp here. CV might consider popping out to try and steal it. Will do so. Drops off the cask. Brax taking quite a bit of damage here, but 6 the boar onto the Witch Doctor, and looks like he is going to be able to run himself out of here. As CV just TPs himself down towards bottom. HFN jumping in front of MSS here, but needs to be careful. The bottle's just being redelivered. They managed to phase shift dodge out of the way of the stomp there, but still being chased down. There is a leap available from MSS. HFN looking for the orb out, and will be able to find it. KYH with the boulder smash, catching onto 2, but can he actually kill any of these heroes here? The answer is no. They've got Tangos, they've got salves, they've got bottles. Shazam is going to be able to walk away. Unfortunately, they do not manage to pick up the kill on the puck. Who's actually just going to wait for a salve to be delivered. But the spirit catches him in the trees, and he just dies. SVG finds him out, and at the same time, Jason and TC are going to be able to team up and take down Snake King over on the top side. Looks like he is going to have his bear shortly after he respawns, but not getting a ton out of the offlane at the moment. Level 2.5. Brax level 3.5 just from his Iron Talon jungling, but the downside for Shazam is that this Slark is getting absolute free farm down in this bottom lane. Mason just tanking up the creep wave a little bit to keep it in the right position. But this Elder Titan, I haven't seen the support ET utilized like this, but it is certainly good setup for the arrow now that he's got 2 points up in the Echo Stomp, and just sort of safe, constant harassment against the puck on the mid lane. Also preventing the Earth Spirit from really accomplishing too much. KYH running around, he's got a level 3, but hasn't really been able to gank anywhere too successfully just yet, and does kind of need his level 4 to get that 1 point up in the 2.5 second sound so that he can actually look for these kills on the very mobile Mirana and the Faceless Void. So this is a really nice way for that Shazam have opted to deal with this Earth Spirit. When you think about your first pick, you want your first pick to be valuable. You want your first overall pick to have a big impact on the game. And Shazam, just by having Void, who's difficult to kill, and Mirana, who's difficult to kill, in the 2 lanes that are exposed, and Beastmaster just jungling, they've really prevented this Earth Spirit from accomplishing anything in the early game. And add on top of that the fact that they've got SVG running around and being a nuisance on mid. Looks like he is going to be taking up position in the offlane now, just to start grabbing up a little bit of farm as Brax continues to jungle up. And like a very timely level 6 for him here. And the Lone Druid also doing the same kind of thing. Looks like Snake King is just going to be heading over into the jungle himself. Don't know if he's picked up an Iron Talon. I'm having trouble clicking on the bear. Alright, he has grabbed himself an Iron Talon here. So it looks like Iron Talon jungle is a go. And both 4-position heroes are going to be taking up residence in the offlane to try and soak up a little bit of experience. The Lion is doing very well for himself this game, has managed to grab his level 4. His counterpart, Clairvoyance, over on the other side, doing the same kind of thing, however, has just been backing and pulling, and also secured himself level 4. So it should be a pretty highly leveled game in general, and that should make for quite a bit of action. And Brax needs to be careful, gets stomped up by the Centaur, that's bad news for him. KYH still has the Boulder Smash, connects it, picks up the Hawk for free, but the arrow comes in at just the right time from MSS, right as the rock was getting put down, just to get the pullback to get that kill, but instead it's going to be MSS picking it up. Brax thanks his lucky stars that MSS was on point with that arrow, and is going to be able to live, head back to the base, and might even be able to repay that kindness with the gank over towards mid lane before too long, because he is going to have his roar very shortly after heading back into the jungle. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a smoke picked up here either, but it is up to him. There is also a smoke over on the Lion, so Lion might come back, mana up, meet Brax over in the jungle, and they could look to make some kind of a rotation, either killing off the Lone Druid, who did just resummon his bear. TC is communicating that to his team. This could be an extremely big kill on Snake King, or they could just be looking to pressure HFN a little bit more on the mid lane, but yep, Jason's gonna go back, mana up, SVG coming back to grab a little bit of farm, and Brax just gonna head over to this offlane camp to grab himself that level 6. So smoke's picked up, and it looks like the supports are gonna try and make some kind of a movement soon. The Slark continues to free farm away, 50 and 20 his CS score, and is going to be able to get his Midas sent out very soon. But another lane ward planted down, and they do see the Hawk moving into position here on the bottom lane. Though Shazam, everybody is going to duck off the map very quickly, as instead of using a smoke, they are going to use the Moonlight Shadow. But Mason nestled up nice and safe underneath this tower, KYH over in the tree line, and I'm not sure if this gank is going to be successful. Mid lane being empty is a little bit suspicious. I don't know why they brought MSS along for this kill. I feel like they had the opportunity to either just gank mid or gank top. The safe lane gank is perhaps a little bit unexpected, so maybe that's what they were thinking with their approach, but yeah, seeing the Hawk run down bottom that kind of gave that away a little bit. It does slow down Brax's farm a little bit, but still getting his Necrobook timing up pretty nicely. Stun onto 2 from Jason here, but Snaking still manages to get off the Savage Roar, avoiding the Starstorm. Arrow is going to connect on HFN. Chronosphere gets dropped, just catching the puck on the edge. KYH also kept out of this fight. The Bear getting right-click down here. Snaking does have a resummon in a second. Nice silence from KYH. He's going to catch onto the 2. Is this cask going to bounce back from the creep wave? It will. MSS now in trouble. Drops one more Starstorm, picks up the kill on the Bear. So an extra 300 gold for him there, as Jason looks like he's going to go down fighting. Actually, the neutral creeps might finish him off. The CV with one more auto attack does manage to grab the kill. TC coming in with the bash, and he's going to get to, does manage to find a killing spree, as this fight will conclude 4-for-2 exchange. Shazam really getting a big win out of that, and TC picking up a Vanguard here, looking like he might be taking a page out of Waga's book and going for the Vanguard Radiance Void this game. And at the same time, Brax has just been punching this bottom tower. Pretty big damage being dealt to the tier 1, SVG, maxing out the stomp this game, so it looks like the sleep into Arrow combo is the kind of setup that they're looking for here. Arrow just a little bit off the mark on Mason there. Does manage to pounce himself out of the way at the last moment. And Shazam are really keen to find this kill on the Slark, and that's what Dragneel are going to look to exploit, as they smoke 2 heroes down towards the bottom lane. CV also coming in from the side. Gouts this out. Arrow, once again, a little bit off the mark. They jump in on top of Brax, looking for the roar, but won't be able to use it, getting silenced and stunned up. Coil gets dropped. Jason's now in some trouble. Manages to get the stun out onto 2, and HFN absolutely gets blown up by the finger. MSS waiting around with the Starstorm, sizing up Clairvoyance, but sees that he's got some stick charges and some backup in the neighborhood, and instead they're just going to cut their losses, leaving this fight at a 1-for-2 overall. Alright, HFN continues to struggle a little bit on the puck here. Pretty middling in terms of overall net worth, actually behind the Beastmaster right now. KYH does get some pretty nice levels out of that last fight, and will be able to grab a Tome of Knowledge, though he is passing that one over to the puck so that HFN can grab his level 8, and they're going to have to find some kind of recovery farm for this puck somewhere. Looks like Snaking still sticking to his guns, and they are going to be picking up a secondary Midas. The MSS is going to fight fire with fire and grab a Midas of his own. And ET now has his Earth Splitter online, 3 points in the Echo Stomp. Chronosphere ready to set things up as well, and I feel like Shazam going to be a little bit more front foot forward this game in terms of how they choose to play. I think a lot of that just comes down to the fact that they have the Beastmaster on their team, and it does make it all that much easier to take down these tier 1 towers and start to exert some pressure on the map. And they really want to take down the safe lane tier 1 and the mid tier 1 to just cut off access to this jungle. MSS jumping in? No, actually not jumping in on the mid lane, but still just getting caught out there. The 2 supports are going to team up and bring him down. I don't know what he was doing there. Did he get boulder smashed back? I am not sure. No, it looks like he got boulder smashed by this, so looks like he was maybe just walking around in the mid lane, got stun silenced, and that was that. But yeah, if they can take down these tier 1s and restrict access to the Radiant jungle, then they're going to be in a pretty good spot, I think. HFN wanted that rune, but instead just going to be forced to jaunt further away, and TC was waiting for him up on the high ground. I don't know how he got in position there, but alright. Puck going to be brought down once again, and Dragneel really struggling without their puck to be able to take these fights. Slark's not interested in fighting right now. Lone Druid's not interested in fighting at the moment, so they're just gonna have to continue to give up buildings here, and well, Brax grand unveiling of that Necro one on bottom lane roars up the Slark, and Finger of Death comes in to finish the job. Shazam really starting to tighten the screws in this first game against Dragneel.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The biggest problem as well is if they take all these tier 1s without losing a tier 1 of their own, then there won't be the normal access that you have as the Radiant team to come over and, you know, use the Dire jungle a little bit, and that's something that Slark is really going to be looking to do once his side of the map starts being pressured, especially with the Hawks flying over, the wards in his jungle. You know, they've still got control over these westernmost camps right now, but getting tough, and Jason really well farmed. He's 3-3-3, has put his life on the line a couple of times for the team, but he's going to have his Blink Dagger in just a second, so jumping in and initiating against this Slark and the Puck only going to get easier, and HFN not really finding any farm time, so going to be moving with the support squad and looking to pick up his Blink Dagger with a couple of kills here. Brax narrowly sidestepping this gank for now, but they are going to come around the corner here, and they do manage to find him out. 2 silences being dropped down, Dusk gets popped, Nicole gets used, the Magnetize committed for good measure. Brax is going to end up going down end of the day. I think he was looking around seeing who was coming in and whether or not it was worth it to try and drop that roar, but in the end decides not to. I think he would have done it if his Necrobook had been off cooldown, but it was like 3 seconds to go, so just going to hold his combo for the time being, and does kind of go down quietly. SVG looking like he's going for the same kind of build this game as he did in the previous Elder Titan game that he played. Tranquil Boots, Soul Ring, into a drum, maybe a Vlad's from there, and then something like a Shiva's after that. MSS, also same kind of story for him. Looks like we're going to be seeing Midas into the Aghanim Scepter, kind of a story. Snaking, still pushing a little bit with the Spirit Bear here, keeping his hero back in the fog. Trying to stay nice and safe. Does have a TP scroll ready to go if he's not completely caught out here, but needs to be careful. Jason does have this Blink Dagger at the ready. Snaking, gonna look for the roar and the TP out, but the stun is gonna cancel that one, along with the Echo Stomp as well. They had 2 different ways to keep him here, so they are just gonna be able to bring him down with an arrow to the back of the head. Did manage to get some pretty significant damage onto this tier 1, so Shazam may consider denying that, but at the same time, TC with his Vanguard tanking up the Roshan, and looks like he and Brax are going to be able to pick this up pretty quickly. Arrow also coming in for MSS from good measure. I think they do give this to the Mirana here, actually. TC is going to be absurdly difficult to kill, and with 3.3k gold banked up, his Radiance is not going to be too far away. Mason's still working his way towards a Shadow Blade right now. Dragneel doing their best to maintain control over their side of the map, since they still haven't gained any kind of access over the Dire side right now. So just Ward scouting out most of the openings into their jungle and keeping this Slark safe so that he can keep this GPM up, since he is the only person on their side of the field who's really keeping pace with anyone over on Shazam, and they're chewing through their smokes extremely quickly, but they have been quite successful with them so far, and this is really their way back into the game. They scout out MSS, but I don't think they really want to do anything about him. He's got the Aegis. They're going to look for the softer targets on the back lines instead, but there's just too many Shazam heroes grouped up here right now. They didn't opt to deny this top tower, so Snaking is going to come up here with a smile on his face and finish what he started as he snags that last hit, muttering worth under his breath or something like that, but Shazam looking for the tier 2, continuing to pressure with the Beastmaster. He's now got his Necro 2, got that Relic coming out for the Void, and this is going to be another nice injection of cash, but I'm not sure if these trades are necessarily worth it. The tier 1 tower mid's been taken down, and Dragneel are now starting to kind of push back a little bit against some of this early pressure from Shazam. Shazam may be able to swing over towards mid and pick up this tier 1 tower. Though right now they're knocking at Dragneel's door. They want to see some kind of a response, but the Boulder Smash comes out of the base. They see the orb as well. They're going to tally up at least 2 heroes as being down here on the bottom side. And that does mean that they're just going to back themselves up. But they are starting to... Dragneel are starting to use this space on the top side to continue farming. Snaking not too far away from his relic. Iron Talon and Midas both going to work, and Shazam continuing to 5-man, so the experience is going to start moving back in the Radiant direction a little bit as those Midases continue to tick up little by little. But with still another 3 minutes left on this Aegis, it looks like Shazam are going to be able to get their Radiance up and still make some kind of a play after that, so... The only question is where exactly that's going to happen. HFN has started to catch back up, which is good news for him, working his way towards the Veil, which is definitely going to boost up the damage of both the Earth Spirit and the Radiance on the Lone Druid once they have it. I guess that means that the Earth Spirit can consider going for... what's he going to go for here? I was about to say mech, but I'm not sure if that's actually all that impressive. This is, in all honesty, a really good Aghanim Scepter game for him. Just to be able to save people once they get jumped on by the Lion or the Beastmaster, but it's a rarely seen item on the and it is quite a lot of gold to farm. We'll see what he goes for. Something like a Force Staff could also nicely here. Alright, Radiance online, Shazam still pressuring with the Aegis. MSS is just going to plink away a little bit here. Elder Titan, scouting things out, looking for an Echo Stomp, looking for that big Chronosphere setup potentially. To drop his ultimate, drop that Earth Splitter down. But Dragneel just trying to split the map a little bit, wait out this Aegis. Some pressure applied bottom, but not going to end up getting anything there. SVG still chasing forward, looking for something, but KYH, he's got a roll, he's got a TP, he's going to get out of there. Fine. So the one thing to say about TC's build this game is that it is it's very 5-man oriented. But I am actually a fan. It seems like the way that they're going to be taking these team fights is just a lot of AoE magical damage. They've got the natural order to buff everything up. They've got, non-stop Starstorm spam from the Mirana. It does lower his solo kill potential a lot, so he can't really kill the Slark by himself or anything like that, but he is managing to move with his team quite a bit. They're looking for snaking here on top, and he is just barely going to get his TP cancelled here. TC makes his way in, the bear is going to end up getting arrowed, and all of Shazam converge. The snaking is going to be taken down. Mason going to have to run like the wind and just get off to another lane, continue pushing things out here, though Brax is taking up residence on the bottom side of the map for some kind of a free pick-off as he continues to farm up with the Iron Talon. So Hawks are going to keep on scouting. Clairvoyant's going to grab himself a little bit of free experience there. But there is a jump in on mid lane, and Mason's being Chronosphered up right into the Earth Splitter. He'll be brought down. KYH rolling himself away, but with 2 cores down, Shazam should be able to continue pressing this forward. MSS going to be joining them in just a second. That bounty rune is going to propel him just that little bit closer to his Aghanim Scepter, and he is a mere 150 gold away from that at this point. We've also got a gem being grabbed up by SVG, so it looks like Shazam trying to hit this 5-man timing as hard as they possibly can before the Midases over on the Radiant side start to kick in and they start to actually pick up farm. The Relic is online over on Snaking, but he's not going to be all that relevant. The Radiance is actually competed, and Slark not even going to be able to opt for stats here, instead rushing straight into the BKB. I think finally realizing the pressure that they're being put under. Shazam takes some chip damage on the tier 3 tower, and then just back themselves up. Roshan has a potential respawn in about 2 minutes time. Dragneel going to have to use as much of that space as they can to just farm up, finish up the BKB, finish up the Radiance, and see if that's going to be enough to start turning around these fights. The Radiance is going to be benefiting a lot from the Veil, and if HFN can find a good initiation, there can definitely be some solid follow-up from the Earth Spirit. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom just yet, but Shazam built themselves a pretty tidy lead for this stage of the game. Shazam are moving in again with the Moonlight Shadow. MSS off to the side as well, and there's a bunch of heroes grouped up here as Dragneel were in fact looking for a smoke, though. Not going to find anything. SVG is the only one poking his head out at the moment. Brax continuing to split push things in with the Boar as he looks for some kind of a free pickoff here with the Blink Dagger that he's just picked up but has not yet revealed. Is he going to go for this right after the Dark Pact finishes? No, Mason's already a little bit suspicious of something happening here and is just going to back himself up. Alright, so MSS's farm is going to continue to accelerate from here. TC has picked up a Yasha. Looks like we are going to be seeing that Manta-style build out of him. Think it's a pretty good choice against the multiple silences that he's facing up against this game. The BKB is now completed for the Slark. And looks like Dragneel with 3 big items now up are going to hit this smoke immediately, see if they can get some kind of a jump. If they can blow up TC, that would be great. MSS trying to pounce away, but he has been locked down, and they are going to be losing the Mirana very early on here. TC taking big damage as well from the Death Ward, and he is going to end up being brought down. Earth Splitter does connect along with the Chrono, but TC unable to get the Time Walk off, and that means he is going to end up falling. Shazam kind of getting caught with their pants down there. End up losing 2 big cores. That should be a ton of gold handed over to Dragon Slayers, and yep, 3.1k gold and 3k experience across the board there. Everybody getting a little piece of the pie, as they will now make their way out and get a little bit of dewarding done. Fortunately for Shazam, they do still have the gem over in the hands of SVG. He's going to get the stomp off to make some room for Brax to be able to escape here, but just trying to mitigate the damage that they're doing at this stage. So with that, we're going to see Slark go back to farming for a little bit. Lone Druid, same kind of story. Looks like he's going to be going straight into I want to say Vlad's, but Pipe is also really good this game. Quite a bit of magical damage that you're up against. Shazam trying to fight fire with fire, though. They're going to go for a smoke of their own here as 3 heroes make their way down towards the bottom side of the map. And with the Natural Order and the Finger of Death, they should quite easily be able to kill absolutely anybody. They're going to jump in with the Hex first, looking for the damage. They don't even need to expend the Roar. The right clicks are so much with that Natural Order on top of everything, and SVG, Brax, and Jason easily secure that kill, and now they're going to be able to go into Roshan. And that is the one slight downside of the kind of timing that Dragon Slayers went for, is that top lane is really far away from Rosh, so could really capitalize on that fight aside from just grabbing some farm, and Shazam are going to be able to grab themselves another easy Aegis here. TC, how close is he to the Manta? Still going to take a little while for him to finish up that farm. But still, they've got the Aegis now on the Mirana, and continuing to hold on to this tidy little lead they've got right now. It looks like we are going to get confirmation. Snaking is in fact going to be going for his Vlads here. PC pushing out the bottom lane. And Light Shadow's going to be popped, and they got the Boots of Travel coming into the Hawk right now. Thinking going to have to run for the hills. HFN sticking around a little bit longer, and he might be the one who gets roared instead. Arrow flying out. HFN going to jaunt his way over into the trees. Looks like he should just barely be able to escape here. But we now have a pipe up on SVG to help deal with this Lone Druid Radiance, and it looks like the game plan has not changed for Shazam. They're just going to keep hitting this timing and continue to try and pressure, not really exploiting the split push angle from the MSS Mirana as much as we've seen them do it in their previous games. Trying to stay grouped up, trying not to get picked off by the Slark. HFN by himself on the mid lane. TC going to be coming in. Has grabbed his Manta style recipe, so just needs to farm up the ultimate orb at the moment. And despite being split up, Dragneel not going to be looking to take a fight here. They are instead just going to be trying for some trades. Tier 1 tower will be very quick work bottom, but it looks like Shazam with the Necrobook and the Pipe Popped are going to be keen to force back some rotations. And Dragneel a little bit slow to respond. The Paralyzing Cask is going to open up a little bit of space. The extremely slow Boulder Smash also going to keep these Necrobooks stunned down, but Tier 3 tower taking some residual damage here. Fantastic damage, trying to find an angle into this fight, but doesn't want to enter in too close to these Necrobooks. They are going to be able to jump in on top of HFN, and the Chronosphere catches too. HFN is down. Mason does manage to pop off his BKB, but he gets roared immediately as the Chronosphere ends. MSS is being focused, but he's still got the Aegis. Looks like TC is going to end up falling. The synergy between the Puck and the Lone Druid being shown off there as the Savage Roar breaks the coil stun. MSS and SVG now on the run. Fantastic damage. He did buy back into this game, as did HFN. They have to find as many kills as they can, but looks like it's just going to be one additional grab here. TC dying inside of the base, but at the very least, they did manage to claim the gem off of SVG, so that may have been the most valuable kill that they could have gotten at the tail end of that fight. They did end up losing the tier 3 after all is said and done, but a successful hold against the Aegis, and I think Dragneel still going to be feeling pretty happy with themselves after that fight. Clairvoyance, interesting build, has opted for the Aether Lens and the maxed out Maledict, so plenty of damage to contribute. And that is going to be, I think, pretty scary for the somewhat squishy Shazam side, as Dragneel now making their way up onto the opposing high ground. They need to be careful. They used those double buybacks not too long ago. Arrow's going to stun up the bear, and this is going to be the resummon force out of snaking. So if any of their 3 cores die at this point, they're pretty much out of the game. Even if Snake King, well, he doesn't even have buyback, but even if he did, he doesn't have the bear for another 2 minutes, so I think it's go time for Shazam. Everything's back off cooldown in about 10 seconds. And just have to go out on the map and see if they can find something. Only a little bit of vision for them to work with right now, unfortunately. And I don't know if they actually have any smokes left in reserve. 5 minutes on the smokes in stock. They've got 1 smoke over on Brax, and none on the Courier. Meanwhile, the story for Dragon Slayers, minute 50 on their smokes in stock, none in inventories, and they do not have any on the Courier. So no smokes whatsoever for Dragon Slayers to play around with right now, and just gonna have to hunker down, keep on farming, and wait out those buyback cooldowns if they can. I don't think that Shazam are at risk of falling off, but I think they are worried about the Slark continuing to farm up and becoming a problem. Oh, they want this bear kill. They're going to hex it up. They'll spend whatever they need to get this kill. They know that it's going to be on cooldown for a little while. The Radiance Burn from TC is going to prevent the return from going off, and that means no bear for 40 seconds for snaking right now. Shazam will set their sights on this bottom lane. It is actually the healthiest out of all the tier 3s that Dragneel have, so we may see some kind of a lane switch from them. TC's illusions are helping out to push this along a little bit, as he is now up to 1200 gold. I could see a Diffusal Blade, or maybe but could be an Aghanim Scepter for him before too long. Looks like Shazam content to push on the healthiest tower right now. There is no glyph available, so should be able to get some damage to stick here. There's a little bit of scouting going on from the Hawk off to the side, so Shazam with a little bit of vision, but the heroes that they're really looking for, Puck and the Slark, kind of staying back a little bit right now, playing it safe. Fantastic damage has picked up a Silver Edge, so a little bit more survivability for him. But everybody on Dragneel has been brought back to defend right now. There's no bear split pushing just yet, and nobody farming up over on the top side of the map, so Mason not willing to risk anything to a random pick-off from Brax. And I think that's something that I do have to credit Brax for with his Beastmaster play. he spends so much time off the map and just being a threat. You know, even we saw when they were running 4 heroes to top lane, he was chilling on bottom, looking for the free pick off. He knows that he can always kind of go and join his team with these boots of travel. So I really want to compliment him on the fact that he's exploiting that to the max. Like, I think if he wasn't playing like that this game, and that wasn't just, you know, his overall style, then we would probably see somebody on Dragneel up at least farming these camps over here. But because of that worry of the Beastmaster being able to find somebody out and find a solo kill, which will break the base wide open, Dragon Slayer is forced to play a little bit more defensive on the whole. They did get that smoke back in stock, and they're going to be running out onto the map trying to find something as Shazam do back off, and that will cause them to split up a little bit. Scan's also going to be expended here, looking for some kind of a pick off, but Shazam just staying well grouped up, and Brax once again in position trying to find these solo pickoffs. TC made a nice little play earlier as well. He sent his Radiance Illusions off to intercept these waves and get things pushing back in the right direction for them. So the fact that they had all 5 heroes sitting on bottom lane, the lanes are not going to end up pushing out too much, and they will be able to get right back out onto the map and maintain their position. Faces Void, 3.2k gold banked up, maintaining that #1 spot on the net worth. Lone Druid probably making some progress towards his AC right now. Does have the Hyperstone and the Chainmail, so Snaking should be able to grab that one before too long, but will Boots of Travel in. They're going to be looking for this bear. They do roar it up, and they will be able to bring it down. Immediate resummon from Snay, but lots of hate on the bear this game. MSS finds himself a double damage rune. It was TC on the Drow in the earlier games, these cheeky DDs, but instead it's going to be the Mirana grabbing this one, Snaking buying up to just get this AC here, and still no buyback available on either of the 2 cores that used it earlier for another minute and 10 seconds. But the Radiance Burn, along with the puck spam, is keeping Shazam out of the base here. And looks like they may instead just wait around for another Roshan, but it's going to be a fast respawn, another 10 seconds, and I think Shazam probably could be scouting this one out pretty quickly, assuming that they're keeping track of the time properly. Yeah, Slark is playing, I guess, I don't want to say scared. I guess it's safe. Playing with his team a whole lot, not really splitting. You know, they are using the bear. It seems to split a little bit, but more than anything, they're just kind of running around as a 5-man group, trying to find these pickoffs. Brax, smoke gets broken there, so they know that somebody was over in the trees, but unable to find him, so Brax continues to be a bit of a pest, adding a Vlad's to his inventory here. Elder Titan, haven't really seen that pipe used too much just yet, but definitely a nice item for him to be sitting on right now. I guess he goes into the Shivas next up. I guess Lark still just continuing to run with the pack here. In terms of vision, Radiant are a little bit hemmed in right now, despite the fact that they do still have this stolen gem over on KYH, but Shazam have been able to replace their gem, and that's over on SVG right now. And TC, is this an Octarine core? I feel like people buy Radiance and Manta and they're like, you know what I need? I mean, it's not terrible. It does give you decent cooldown reduction on the Chronosphere. So what, you'll be looking at 75 seconds instead of the 60-second cooldown from the Scepter. Lets you spam your Manta illusions a little bit more. I guess you get 4-second cooldown on... No, not 4-second, 5 point... Yeah, some... Why am I awful at math? This is... It's 4.5? Yeah, 4.5 second cooldown on Time Walk. I have no idea why that was so hard, but... It does seem... It strikes me as a little bit of an odd pick, but it is going to make him very difficult to bring down, and it looks like the call from Shazam here is they're going to give the Aegis over to the Void. The cheese is on the Mirana, and it looks like Void is just going to be the person to siege the high ground here. I guess he does have 20-second cooldown Manta illusions to chip at the high ground, so... Octarine Core does make a little bit of sense from that perspective.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
HFN's got quite a bit of farm, 3.5k current gold at the moment. Brax also up there. The money bags in this game right now. What did HFN end up opting for? Not HFN, KYH. Did end up just going for a Glimmer Cape. Potentially a decent saving item this game. Though there is a decent amount of anti-invis on the Shazam side anyway, between the Necro 3 and the Gem, so... I'm not so sure about this. I would really like to see the Aghanim Scepter, but... I don't know if he's going to be able to grab it. And if the game starts to turn anyway, then I feel like the Ag Scepter is going to help turn the game. The value after that, I guess it's still quite good, but we'll have to see. Shazam making their way up towards top. Illusion's going to head up onto the high ground, but getting stunned up by the paralyzing cask here. And TC on the front lines is just going to be the man to come up and slowly plink away at these buildings. Is working away at the range backs pretty quickly, still has the Aegis here. Slark wants some stacks, gonna come in and grab a couple off of him. As the bear does end up being arrowed, TC once again frontlining. Does have the Manta to dispel that silence, but gets straight into the Boulder Smash, healing up a little bit with the Octarine Core, but gets sent over towards mid lane by the Savage Roar. They jump in with the Hex, they manage to blow up the puck, they drop the Chronosphere, it's onto 2. Fantastic damage, taking quite a lot of right click right now as they also get the Earth Splitter through. KYH trying to fight with the Magnetize, but he's just going to get right click down by MSS. We are once again going to see those twin buybacks out of the puck and the Slark as they chase outside of the base looking for TC, but he's still healthy and he still has the Aegis. He comes back in once again. HFN hits the deck for the second time this fight. Fantastic damage with his ultimate, trying to bring down MSS, who does have the cheese, and that is going to be GG called for game 1 here as Shazam just too much sustain. Too many ways to survive, and without even taking a full lane of racks, they are going to get the GG called out of Dragneel, who just... I don't know, they played so aggressively and so on point during the open qualifiers, but just haven't really seemed to be able to find that same style here in the main qualifiers. I think they'll have a decent chance of coming back in game 2, so we're definitely going to have to see how they go there. I do believe with Shazam winning at least the one game in this series, they have